real estate touches a lot of people, and that's why I'm transforming lives through real estate, because real estate has the opportunity to affect a lot of people.
Hey folks, Erik Cabral here with the Mindado Investment Group. I'm sitting here with the man, Matt Faircloth. He is Mr. Multifamily. This is what this guy is.
Give it up. Cool.
He's amazing,
All right.
really. He has been an inspiration to Mindado. One of the things when I first started real estate investing over a year ago was follow Matt and and model literally everything that I was doing and trying to do, and finding him and using him as a blueprint. So even down to your tagline, it inspired my tagline as well. So I just wanted to thank you for all you do for me and for the community of real estate investors. So I just wanted to.
What's your tagline?
It is. It's been a while. So you're putting me on the spot. It's something like transforming lives, but
that's not. Yeah.
It's not it. Go on the site. It's been a while. I've been all about on-air brands lately. But my tagline's out there. Yeah, I'll put it in the notes.
Right.
I'm gonna wait. Let me get my Mindado. Hold on a second. Now you really got me thinking. I'm like, where's my business card? I forgot my my tagline here.
Yeah. But I'm a lot of companies have taglines, and I think it's an interesting conversation because I get that you really, although you might not remember it, but my bet is you really believe it, when you throw it out there, because I believe, I'll talk about mine. My tagline is transforming lives through real estate. That's what it says.
Now, that's what throws me off. It's investing in lives, people, and real estate. So it's very similar. I copy it, basically. So
yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah.
Investing in lives, people, and real estate. But it was a mantra that I really aligned with, and I felt genuine about it. And that is one of the things about starting a business. And we Matt and I just had a meeting about something else, but about just being genuine and authentic to people, and they will feel it, and you'll receive so much more if you just keep giving.
I love that. I like that. I like that tagline too, because I think that people forget sometimes that there are that real estate's a very people-oriented business. People either live in the properties you're investing in, they're investing alongside you, they're involved in helping you produce the property, renovate it or buy it or whatever. It's just real estate touches a lot of people, and that's why I'm transforming lives through real estate, because real estate has the opportunity to affect a lot of people. And yeah, listen, I want to make a living, and this isn't a hobby for me. I want to make money as well, but by far am I investing in real estate or doing what I do so that I can make money. Making money is a byproduct of what I do. I want to make a betterment in people's lives, man. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, and the thing is that comes off really. Yeah. In the very first conversation we ever had, Matt called me, and he said, I'll never forget this. He called me and he said, "What can I do for you? What are your goals? What are you trying to do with your life and your vision?" And that took me aback, because I was like, "Oh wow, this guy actually cares about what he didn't mention anything about what he's doing and what they're trying to, and what his business does." Although I already had done research and knew that I wanted to work with Matt, but he comes from that genuine place. And it is essential to being an entrepreneur and being a successful entrepreneur.
I think that, and this is something to take home to your viewers as well, and this is conversations you and I have had about being willing to be direct and authentic with people as a testament to their goals for where they want to go. Because one of the original conversations you and I had in the very beginning when we first started doing work together was you and I had talked about a few different investment opportunities for you to get yourself into, and I think that you were like, oh, I don't know about this, I don't know about that, and you had like the paralysis by analysis thing going on that so many people suffer from. I do too, right? And it takes one to know one. So I saw that going on for you, and the only reason I was able to see it is because I've been there, right? And so I think that in some ways it would have been easier for me to be nice to you, air quote, right? About just saying like, oh, it's okay, Erik, we'll find another deal for you. But I think that in taking a stand for people in our business, by me like, I wouldn't say I called you out, but I brought it up. To say, hey, Erik, it looks like you're getting stuck. It looks like this is what's coming up for you. And I wasn't trying to be a jerk about it or whatever.
Absolutely.
I wanted to just shed highlight on something that I think was standing between you and your goals. And I think that to your viewers, I think you guys got to have the courage to take a stand for people. That if you see them behaving in a certain manner that's not going to carry them to their goals, whatever that is, be that either a procrastinator or on the other side of it, paralysis by analysis, or just not fully engaged in their business, whatever it is, have the courage, have the cojones to bring it up. You know, because if you don't, you're selling them out. You are. I mean, and I think we sell people out sometimes. You know?
Yeah. Or you don't care enough to say anything, right?
Well, believe it, I care a lot about this guy. So I'm willing to take a stand for him, and sometimes that might mean me being willing to have the difficult conversation with him, and I would expect him to do the same thing for me.
Yeah, you know? And you bring up a good point. It's funny because this conversation is evolving completely from what we thought we were going to talk about.
Don't conversations do that?
I love it, and that's what I love about you. But what Matt brings up is a really good thought, because people who are trying to get into real estate and investing, often fear is the biggest hurdle ever. I mean, we talk to people from our RIAs all the time, and they're like, I can't figure out how to do this. Or you see them a year later, and they're like, I still haven't done any deal yet. And you're like, what I didn't figure out what type of business card I should buy. Yeah. Like, that's holding them back. So aside from the fear thing, that is the biggest hurdle for most of you people out there who haven't pulled the trigger on a deal yet. The other point I wanted to bring up was what gave me the confidence to push forward and to eventually, pull the trigger and buy real estate was surrounding myself with people who are doing it, and people who have been doing it for many, many, many years. And that gave me the confidence, surrounding myself and putting myself in a network of people who know way more than I do, right? So, I mean, do you want to speak a little bit to that, and like how you influence people by just being in their circle and part of their network, and how many people you touch and inspire to get rid of the fear?
Yeah, okay, so getting rid of the fear. I have no idea how many people that I know I have many YouTube subscribers and things like that, and we get a lot of good feedback. Yeah, I know that we're doing good by people, and that's very validating to know that. But that's good to know, and I'm glad to know that I've made some impacts on you as well. So with regards to people dissolving fear, and you said a lot of great things about like surrounding yourself by great people. That's like a great tip to people. It's like, you are the average of the five of your five closest friends.
Right. Or your network is your net worth.
Right. Any of those. But with regards to like getting through fear, the little secret is that fear doesn't go away, and people think that it does, but it doesn't. It doesn't. No matter how far along you get in this business, you're still fear's there, man. Fear just becomes something that's, and I think that people wait for it to go away, right? And I think that what you really got to do is you really got to get used to it, right? And
build a tolerance for
it. And just like understand that if I'm not afraid a little bit, I'm not growing, right? Because here's my circle of comfort. Okay, if you can picture like my life inside here, right? This is my circle of comfort, but my circle of comfort is only as big as my current life right now. And so if I want a bigger life, I've got to get myself more uncomfortable. And people understand that if they don't own any real estate right now, if they're not working for themselves, if they still got a day job, whatever it is, then they are at their level of comfort. And to get a bigger life, they have to get uncomfortable. Exactly. And people don't get that when you get uncomfortable, fear becomes part of it. Fear is introduced. As you expand and grow in life, you will get afraid. Okay? Absolutely. And that is what it is. And so, and I'm not saying like, oh, hey, just, toughen up, but be willing to talk out fear. Be willing to talk about the worst case scenario. Be willing to discuss it with a mentor, with somebody who knows, who's been a few steps down the road and everything like that. Yeah. But that's the biggest key, is it doesn't go away. It's just there.
Right. And like you said,
getting
comfortable.
I wish I could give you better. I wish I could give you,
No, it's so true. I mean, it's always there, but just knowing that, like, really, so one of the reminders to get me past that hurdle a lot of times is to think, what's the worst possible thing that could happen, right? And it's not that bad if you think about the scenarios, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, and a lot of people fear a lot of weird things, or different things. What are people going to think? Or fear of failure.
What if they say no? What if I end up broke?
What's going to happen? I mean, and then you think of those scenarios and you play those out in your head and you get past that fear and surround yourself with people who have done it and gotten past those fear sets. I'm
going to totally butcher the quote, but Mark Twain said something to the effect of, I've been afraid of many things in my life, many of which never didn't happen. Because that's what's true. But the fact is, most of the things that you're afraid of don't ever come up. If you're like afraid of a burglar breaking into your house, odds are like 99.99% of the chance it's not going to happen, right? It does, but it's not going to happen, right? Not the time that you're afraid of it. When you got your back turned, it will. But but most of the things that we fear don't happen. But you can use fear as a indicator or as a means to put in a safety net to say, okay, like I'm a little afraid of like losing my investors' money, or I'm a little afraid of doing this deal because I might lose or whatever. Okay, cool. Well, let's, like you said, run with the worst case scenario a little bit. And what safety net can I put in to make that worst case scenario less probable?
Right.
You know.
Right. So yeah, I got all these thoughts, but false evidence appearing real is one of those great acronyms for fear.
Yep.
I love that one.
Yep.
But like what Matt is mentioning as far as safety nets, as you get out and become a real estate investor, what you'll find is that's what investors do, and that's one of the very first things I learned is you're underwriting or you're analyzing the deal, every possible scenario, right? Because how many people come to us and say, well, what if this breaks, or what if the roof caves in, or what if the tenant, what if you got to evict someone? So you've accounted for every single scenario.
To use like the real estate dude's language, we call it mitigating risk.
Right.
Okay, and so we have a few dollars set aside for just in case the hot water heater blows up, or just in case the furnace catches on fire, or just in case the roof does whatever. That's why you have insurances. That's why you got a few dollars set aside for these kinds of things. Yep. And that's why you have really great property management companies or property management strategies to make sure the tenants pay their rent. If they don't, you know what to do, right? So I think it's about tracing out a lot of these scenarios and then implementing like if this then that type of things,
yes.
And just understanding, and here's the other thing that'll prevent paralysis by analysis, understanding you will never understand or be able to predict 100% of the outcomes. There's always going to be like that 10 to 15% gray area, right? And people get focused too much or get too scared of that 10 to 15% and don't realize that as much as you can plan these things out, I've rarely had a building or a project perform exactly the way that I thought it was going to, because you got to be willing to walk into the fog a little bit. And just it's gonna go this, it's gonna go here, and react to things as they come up. People want a lighthouse when they walk down a path. They want like a lighthouse to show them exactly where they're gonna go, but they don't realize that what they're given in life is a lantern.
Right.
And so you're only gonna see those few steps in front of you, and then you have to just course correct. And okay, I see this. I'm over here, I'm over there, and that's I think where people get stuck is just having the courage to just put one foot in front of the other and understand, and having faith enough in themselves that they can just work it out as they go. So it's a balance of those two.
Perfect. We can keep talking forever and ever.
I can do that whatever you want.
I mean, this is great. I mean, seriously, I can keep talking to you. But I wanted people to find out or know a little bit more about you, Matt Faircloth, and what you do, and where they can find you and how they can potentially partner with you in some of your deals.
Okay, cool.
So can you talk about a little bit of what you've recently done? Because I know you had a really, really big 198 deal unit, and then you've got some stuff in the pipeline as well. So whatever you want to chat about.
That's cool. Yeah. You know all about that 198 unit building because you wrote the name for the place and wrote the logo.
I do want to visit and take a picture
of the sign. Yeah, you should.
I know. I'm serious.
You see that D&D asked for the Douglas Square?
I'll be there.
This guy thought of that, right? Yeah. Right.
No, that was a lot of fun.
No, we go. Yeah, right. So what we do is we just offer investment opportunities to people. Those investment opportunities are in line with the current real estate market, because somebody taught me a long time ago that you can't control the market, you can only hope to participate in it. So I help people participate passively in the real estate market. And that, could be right now, it's a great opportunity to buy apartment buildings. A lot of people living in apartment buildings. There's a lot of dilapidated, rundown apartment buildings that are just reaching that's the end of their useful life, but the end of their current situations usefulness. So they need a big facelift to become useful again. Okay, so that is an opportunity. Right now the real estate market's up, and so we are involved in a lot of construction of places for people to live in places that people do want to live. So like Philadelphia, whatever, we're building properties, and we allow people to invest passively in those types of projects. So we've built for 13 years, we built a network of people that bring us deals, people that are great A+ level players that can help implement these projects. So I assemble that side of the team, and then I also assemble the investors that want to make a passive return through investing in that. Okay, that's one thing that I do. On the other side, I teach people how to do what I'm doing that want to get involved in real estate and want to dissolve the fear or figure out that fear is just there. So I offer educational opportunities for that. The primary source for the education stuff is on our YouTube page, which they can get a hold of us through DeRosa Group, just looking up DeRosa Group on our YouTube page. I assume in your little show notes you referred to.
In the show notes,
Down there, it'll be in this area. You can do a link to
DeRosa a link to DeRosa Group and all your channels. Where else can they find you? Know that you also participate, in the Bigger Pockets community.
On the I have a book coming out with Bigger Pockets. They asked me to. Well, one thing I've done a lot of is raise money, and I've just offered a lot of passive investments to people over the years. And so we wrote. Bigger Pockets came to us and asked me to write a book. So I wrote a book, and it's called Raising Private Capital: Building Your Real Estate Empire with Other People's Money. That's the name of the book, and I put my heart and soul into it. I hope it adds value to people and helps them bring in investors that can build their wealth while this person builds their business. As we did, right? So because we would be nowhere without the folks that have had the faith to invest with us. So there's that book. They can find us on Bigger Pockets. They can find us on our webpage, which is DeRosaGroup.com, and they can also find us on our YouTube page.
It's great. Are you going to do the audio version of your book?
So, as you can tell, I'm pretty good off the cuff. They're just kind of like, hey.
Yeah.
But I'm not a good reader. I'm not a good reader. And so Bigger Pockets encourages us, the other authors, to read our books.
Yeah.
But they had one author who was an abysmal reader of his book. And he read his book and he would say, like, he's in the middle of reading his book. And he jumbles it up and he goes, you know what, let me read that again. And he says that in the audio book. They record it and it's on the audio book of him saying like, let me read that again to you.
Awesome.
Right? And he goes back and reads the paragraph over again in the audio book.
Oh, man.
What? So I feel like I could be that
You
guy.
should definitely do it. I mean, maybe you could do that like 10 more times.
Right. If you want me to just like record me talking about real estate for 7 hours, I would do that all day.
You know what?
long.
I listened to Gary V's recent book, Crushing It. And it's funny because I bought the book. And then I was like, I'm just gonna wait for the audio to come out. So I listened to him, and if you ever listen, he read it, and it's funny because you get so used to hearing his voice and all his channels and YouTube and everything, and then when you read, it's Gary V reading. It's like, wait, no, this isn't working. And then eventually he's like, I'm gonna go off the script here. So I can imagine you doing that, where you're like, I read this page, but you know what? Things have changed since I wrote this, so I'm gonna go off the script.
I think I might, if Bigger Pockets is okay with me doing that would be the one way.
It would be great to hear.
Because they have a guy that reads their books for them that I could do.
Jim Jones?
It could be, right. I would make him be Darth Vader.
Just at least
during the whole
a little Easter egg in there somewhere.
Right, like I'd want him to just jump into Darth Vader skit, and I would come in and I would be Luke or something like that with him in the book. Like you have to find it, to find that section.
Yeah, it's like the hidden chapter.
Yeah, but no, they have a guy who's very talented, but number one, I got to pay him. I have to pay him if I do that, which that sucks.
You should just.
But number two, it's not me.
Yeah.
I think that's a good tip, though. Maybe I could read it and just go off the script.
I mean, I'm sure they probably want to only allow a certain amount of you doing that, just because then it'll probably extend.
Yeah, man. I've heard a few authors that are like more just fly by the seat of their pants kind of guys, like me and Gary V and Grant Cardone.
Yeah,
I've heard he's done that on his books too.
Yeah,
he'll just like pretty much. Like read the book, kinda.
Yeah. I mean, it puts the pressure off of you, so you're not like, okay, am I gonna make a mistake? You can just keep going and going and going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would enjoy it way more.
Well, thank you.
Like I'm gonna get his book, and I'm gonna probably wait for his audio, Gary, because just on the move, it's so much easier. Just to,
you can get more done. In our world today, it's easy to be more productive. You can work out, you can drive places, and feed your mind. So.
But yeah, I am really happy and excited for you. Congratulations on that book.
Thank you.
And everything you're doing for the community, the DeRosa Group. And
thank you.
This is Erik Cabral at the Mindado Investment Group, and I'm finally sitting here with Mr. Multifamily Matt Faircloth, who just crushes it in real estate. So get out there, look for him, DeRosaGroup.com. Look for him. Just Google Matt Faircloth and reach out to him, because he will be there as your partner to help you invest in your real estate as well. So,
woohoo! Thank you.